Hello, welcome to our live question and answer session with some of our current RAs. Thank you so much for your interest in the resident assistant application process. So this video will go through some question and answers with some of our current RAs. As you can see, we are currently live on Facebook, and you are welcome to drop some questions in the comment box, and our RAs here will be able to answer them live. We'll also be answering some pre-submitted questions. Just some notes, this is in relation to the resident assistant application process for 2021 to 2022, and applications are live now through October 1st, 2020. So we're going to get started with our RAs introducing themselves, and we'll start with Ethan.
Nice to meet you all. My name is Ethan Ankrum. The community that I am over is Ninth Circle. The number of years as an RA I've been is 2 now. Yeah, 2. And my major is business, finance, and economics. Other involvements that I also have is as a College of Business ambassador, and I am part of the Presidential Leadership Council. And I guess like one key highlight of being an RA would have to be watching residents slash students grow and develop themselves over the course of the semester and into the years to come. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sanaya. I work in Lake Claire. I lived in Lake Claire last year as a freshman. This is my first year as an RA. My major is public administration, UCF involvement. I'm in student government, and I'm also part of UCF Democrats. Highlight of my RA experience so far. I haven't been able to do this a lot, but definitely being able to connect with any kind of residents I can. Because of COVID, it's kind of harder to do this, so an opportunity like this is really nice. So you can always ask me any questions. I was also an OA last year, so you can ask me any questions about that.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tommy Pastor. I'm at the Union West community, which is at the UCF downtown campus, and this is my 3rd year as an RA. Before Union West, I was at Northview, which is another off-campus community that UCF has. And other UCF involvement involves being on the orientation team and student government and Office of Student Involvement. And I was also a College of Business ambassador as well. And one of my highlights as an RA was definitely opening up Union West last year when we first opened our doors, and 600 people moved in one day. So it was quite an experience, and I definitely love being here in downtown.
Hi everyone, my name is Aiden McCall. I'm currently an RA here in the Nike community in Academic Village. This is my 2nd semester as an RA. Last year I was a freshman, I lived in Neptune, and this is my 2nd semester here in Nike. So I'm currently a marketing major, and on top of the RA position, I am involved in the College of Business. I do plan to rush the College of Business fraternity. I was involved with the Residence Hall Association last year, and I'm also a lead scholar. And in addition, I'd have to say one highlight of my RA experience would be just growing like personal relationships with some of my residents and being able to kind of see them in the hall and talk to them and really know what's going on with them, and yeah, like watch them grow as a student and as an individual.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for your introductions. So as you can see, we have an awesome representation of our student leaders here. So we're going to go ahead and get started with some of our pre-submitted questions. And then, like I said, feel free to drop your comments or your questions in the comments. All right, so our first question is, what does a typical day or week look like for an RA? Now, not really sure there is a typical day or week, but would one of you like to start? Let's see.
I can go first.
Awesome. Thanks, Tommy.
Awesome, of course. So the typical week for an RA, usually we work once a week. We have what it's called our duty night. So for me, it's Sundays that I work. And so on that duty night, you go into the office at 4:45 p.m. And you're in that office until midnight usually. Right now we're operating a little bit differently, but by the time you come in, it'll be the 4:45 to midnight shift where you're in the office. And basically, we're just responding to phone calls that we get, residents who get locked out, just helping them get back into their room, and just any questions or concerns that residents have in our communities that we serve. We're just kind of like that front desk and face of housing And we also go on what we call rounds, where we just go walk around the community just to make sure that everything's okay with the building and the residents as well. So yeah, there's all kinds of different projects and fun things we do throughout the semester, but that is what your typical week or duty day is going to look like.
Thank you. Anyone else want to add anything?
I'll go ahead and add just on top of like duty days and stuff like that, there is certain things that'll be going on in your floor. So like, let's say like a resident comes up with maybe a maintenance issue. They're going to probably come to you first before they go to the office. So just being able to help with like your residents and like their time here at UCF, that's mostly what we do kind of on a day-to-day in addition to like our duty days.
Awesome.
And one more thing to add, usually we do have like a staff meeting once a week. That's something that you can add to the schedule. And not every weekend, but there'll be certain weekends where you can expect to work 24-hour shift. Usually it's average of 8 weekends out of the semester.
Sorry about that. The next question is, what is your schedule like as an RA? So you've already talked a little bit about your RA responsibilities like duty, but what about typical day? You know, you wake up, then what? Who wants to start with that one? We'll have Ethan start.
Yeah, I'll start first. So for like it's like beyond just being an RA, there's a standard like school, especially like nowadays, it's primarily online. So you don't have to go too far to like attend classes. Just like being an RA, especially like over the weekends, you would be expected to get up for like certain mornings, schedule out time with a fellow resident assistant to go do rounds. So rounds are in summary a walk around of your community. So it doesn't take too long. It's a great way to get outside and to just like have a one-on-one chat with a fellow RA.
Anyone else want to add anything in? What about going to classes? You all go to class, right?
Yeah, I was definitely going to say that. Like, of course, we're students first. So, of course, that involves classes and studying and taking the exams and tests. So definitely that's the first part of being an RA. And then, of course, your job, of course, is most important in like serving your residents and doing the duty nights and making door decks and just finding all the time for the different things that are going on. Like right now we're doing like roommate agreements and stuff like that. So that's how we get all of the residents on the same page with what the rules are in the community.
All right, the next question is, what is the most challenging part of being a student leader as an RA? So this might be a good one for everybody to go around and answer. So the most challenging part of being a student leader, and maybe balancing being a student leader and an RA. All right, we'll let Aiden start.
Okay, yeah, so I would say that I think at any position when you're a student leader, it can be a bit of a challenge. But I would say for me, the most challenging part of being a leader in addition to being a student is just like continual time management. I know for me, that's something that I kind of lack, but I've been working on ever since, getting the job as an RA and gaining other leadership experience. I think it's really crucial to make sure that you have, it doesn't need to be a super duper rigid schedule, but making sure that you dedicate time to not only your classwork and then your clubs or anything that you're a leader in and your job, but also yourself, and just making sure that, you're all there and you're in good sorts.
Sorry about that. We're going to throw up the question we just had for a minute before we get to this question so that all the RAs can answer. So what is the most challenging part of being a student leader as an RA? So I know Aiden jumped in. Does someone else want to give their answer too?
I'll go next. In my eyes, the most challenging thing is to time manage yourself and being adaptable to like the changing circumstances. Well, for one thing, to have like a dedicated planner is a really big really big help and benefit to like being an RA. There's no like life, work, or academics that like conflict with each other. So that's by far in my eyes the biggest obstacle to like overcome, to like commit yourself to like a certain time and date to get everything that needed to be accomplished within a day, set out accordingly.
For me, the most challenging part so far of being like a student leader is kind of like mentally like thinking that, you know, like you're in charge, you are a leader, you're supposed to help the people in your community and they're looking up to you to be like have all the answers, and sometimes you don't, and that's okay. It's just kind of like remembering that it's okay to not know all the answers. You can always try and help them find another resource, reach out to your other peers, your other RA coworkers. So it's just kind of remembering that even though you are a leader, it's okay to like rely on someone else. So it's just kind of like that mental part of it.
I can also add a little bit to this. I would say one of the first challenges, since this is such a unique role as a resident assistant, and in higher education, it's like you live where you work. So just like they said, finding that balance, doing that time management piece as well. Because when you're an RA, you're kind of always an RA and you're kind of always on call. Like when you're in the hall and your residents see you and they have questions, or if they get locked out, they think that you're always the one who needs to help. But you do not work 24/7, you know, so you just have to tell them we have an office, this is where you go to, and this is how our office can help you. So just finding that balance and just communicating that with your residents so they also know, because they understand that you're a human and you're a student as well. So.
Great, thank you all. So now we'll go back to that question that was posted. So Nancy asks, what are you doing to engage the freshmen? So thinking about how you interact with students, and what we're doing this year, but also kind of in general, what are some things we do to outreach to freshmen and just residents in general? All right, who wants to tackle this one? Ethan? All right.
I'll go first. All right, so in my building, we have a very like wide blend, because like not Night Circle is not just like older students, but also like older students, or not just like younger students. So the best way for the best way for me to engage in my building is to have like regular events, or like regular updates like for like each week. So students are getting the proper information like as I'm getting as well. And same like game nights for every every like month, or every like 2 weeks or so, and just learning about the individual students themselves as well. It's a really fun like part that I find in every single person, that we all have a story, and it's great to just have like a conversation even over Zoom.
Thank you. And I think Aiden, did you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So I would say that like specifically as an RA, like engaging freshmen, like for myself, all of my residents here in Nike, they are all freshmen. So this is kind of their first experience in college, and it's a different experience permitting the circumstances. But it's kind of my like responsibility, at least how I feel, to be like that liaison between like them being a student and like to housing and the university in general. So a lot of the times, whether it's just like where's the mail center, or like you know, is there an event to go to, kind of having resources and stuff, you know, because we are provided many resources as an RA, having those resources and like knowing different things, that different ways that they can get involved, just kind of being there and like shedding light to those different events and stuff like that. We also have posters in my hall. Like we get posters quite frequently and flyers for different events. So there's always kind of a flyer up at some cool events going on.
Awesome. And one thing that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, in addition to the things that they provided, is that housing also has two student organizations, the Residence Hall Association and the National Residence Hall Honorary. Our Residence Hall Association, actually, right before this, I was just in a program that they had called UCF Cribs, where students were able to come virtually and show off their room, what kind of things they have decorating their new space. And so that is a group of students who put on programs and events. Right now, we're doing virtual events for all students. So our freshman students, to our Night Circle students, to our Rosen students, Union West students, and everybody in between are invited to those. And each community has what's called an area council, which is essentially a mini student government for that community. I know our RAs are familiar. Aiden mentioned that he was a part of it as well. I know Tommy has worked closely with them too. And so area councils are students that live in that community that get elected to their position on their area council, and they get to program. So they may want to do bingo nights, they may want to do movie nights, and right now planning some different virtual experiences. So definitely in the Residence Hall Association, you can visit them at rhaucf.com or find RHA or NRHH UCF on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter to find out some more involvement opportunities. All right, so thank you for those answers. All right, so Karen asks, do RAs try to meet each of the students personally with masks, of course? So do you want to comment a little bit on how are you meeting each of your residents?
So right now, for me, I'm in the process of scheduling kind of one-on-one meetings with my residents I'm trying to do it via Zoom. If I see my residents in passing, we should all be wearing masks anyway. I will always try and stop and say hello, kind of have a quick conversation, but personally right now I'm trying to push for Zoom meetings so I can get to talk to them. With COVID and everything, it's just probably better that way for me to talk to them virtually.
Thank you. Tommy, you want to add on to that?
Yeah, of course. So a lot of our communities have like community areas that are still open, but we have like restricted numbers in place depending on the community. So in passing, whenever I see them, I definitely talk to them, ask them how school's going, if they have any questions or concerns. They always have questions or concerns, so they definitely like seeing us come by and just getting that help. And then also like in the elevator here at Union West, since it is 15 floors, my residents are always on the elevator every time I'm on there. So just talking to them in passing, and then also scheduling virtual as well meetings. So yeah, lots of ways to stay in contact.
And through those virtual meetings, the RAs are getting a chance to get to know each resident individually, but also starting to see some trends. And so maybe there's a couple people who are in the same class, or a couple people who are in the same major or love the same TV show. And that's kind of how the connections can build. And so even virtually right now, they're able to make those connections between other residents so that they're getting connected with their RA and each other. Awesome. So another one I'll have everybody answer if you're willing. What tips would you give someone applying to be an RA?
I can start.
Awesome.
So my tips for applying to be an RA, in the website that you're applying through eRes, they don't ask you for a resume. So in the questions, I advise you to just kind of be as specific as possible. Use examples of what you've done in the questions, because that's like, those are your only ways to show like your experience and what you have, like your knowledge and stuff. So it's probably best to be very specific in your examples in the questions.
Kind of like to add on to that, I feel like applying to be a resident assistant, obviously, like you kind of have some knowledge about the job and like what that'll entail, and you definitely have like some drive. But I would say coming in and making sure that you have the right motives to become an RA. Like, of course, it is a job and it is, a way to make some money and kind of be involved in that, but also just like making sure that you have the right motives coming in, because you want to help residents and you want to be more involved and you kind of want to make an impact on people's lives. I think that if you're able to come in with that, it'll speak numbers in your application, and you'll be able to really like have a more heartfelt like meaning when you do apply for the job and go through interview and stuff.
I would definitely say please in in your current communities, talk to your RA, get to know them, talk to them more about applying, because they are a wonderful like source that has gone through the process, and not just us here. And most definitely dress for the job that you want, and don't and 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 don't stress yourself, out over it. Like, just walk with your head hold up high, because you are doing something. You're doing something that the other students would not even be willing to do at this time.
And I can add a little bit more to that as well. I think whenever you're answering the application questions, whether it be for the RA position or any role here in the future, the STAR method is also a really great tool to use. So research that, like whenever I talk about a situation, the task at hand and what action you took, and then finish strong with the results. What was that outcome? For your action and involvement, whether it was a job or community service or anything like that. And then in the actual interview, just be genuine, just be transparent, and be yourself. We're looking for a wide range of resident assistants with different personalities. We don't want the same person, so don't think you have to act a certain way. Just be yourself, because at the end of the day, that's what we're really looking for. So yeah, just give it your A game, give it your all, and show your energy and your excitement, and you will certainly do very well through the process.
That's awesome. Thanks for those tips, everyone. I'll also mention that, today's September 1st. And so the month of September is Career Readiness Month through our career services at UCF. And so if you visit career services at UCF, their website, there are a couple opportunities where they are presenting some mock interviews. And so if you've never had an interview before, or even if you have had an interview before, maybe you've never done one virtually, you may want to try to reach out to them. They're completely free. That's a great resource to kind of walk through what it's like to conduct an interview. Do one time and get your nerves out a little bit is something I definitely recommend. So definitely check out our career services through UCF. All right. So, speaking of interviews, here's a good question. How did you prepare for the interview? Some of you maybe a while ago, right? You got to think back. Aiden, yours was fairly recent. How did you prepare?
So for myself, I felt like going into the RA interview, even though I had talked to my RA and I kind of like learned more about the position, I just did some research, like common terminology, like what are some of the things that that housing would be looking for. So I think research any job that you go to apply for, or any position that you're striving to get. But for me, yeah, that's all it was. It was research. Luckily, my sister, she was also a resident assistant at another university, so she was kind of able to like prepare me in terms of like what to expect and kind of things like that. So talking to people who have been through the process, that's another absolute definite. You need to do that.
To also add on to what Aiden said, one big thing that I definitely did was, like, once again talk to my resident assistant that was already on my floor, getting to know that their daily activities and what they did, and asking them what sort of like soft skills is definitely appealing, especially in the RA role.
Good advice. Anybody else want to add anything?
Also, I knew that for me, if I tried to memorize the script, it wouldn't go well. So I tried to be kind of as calm about it as possible. I went through like the questions that were in the application process because I felt like they were kind of close to what they would have asked, and they were. So I just kind of kept those in mind. So yeah, I just knew that if I try to think about my answers too much in advance, they would probably come out wrong. So that's just another tip.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really great tip. I think that I want to make sure everybody knows our job is not to, make you nervous or trip you up in the interview. We really want everybody to be their best selves when they come to the interview. And so part of what you'll see is obviously we're over Zoom. We'll be conducting interviews over Zoom. So you're only going to see this top portion. We're still encouraging you to wear either UCF or Valencia Spirit or business casual. As Ethan says, you dress for the job you want. And so sometimes putting that, that business casual on or that UCF Spirit or something like that will help you kind of get in the mindset of the job and the interview process. But really just be yourself. I know that they've mentioned that, but as you can see here, we've got 4 totally different people representing the RAs, and there's 199 RAs and 12,000 residents. We're not looking for the same person. We don't want to hire, as great as these 4 are, I don't want 199 Ethans or 199 Tommies, maybe 199 Sanayas. No, I'm just kidding. We don't want 199 of the same person because we have so many residents. So I just wanted to stress that we want you to be yourself. We want you to feel comfortable, but you should be prepared to think about who you are. As Ada mentioned, why do you want the job? And then also, what are some things that either you could bring to the position or you could learn from the position? And those are some general things to get you started, but we really do want you to bring your best and most authentic self. And so another tip would be, when you're answering questions in the interview, sometimes there's a couple parts to the question and you may answer the first part, awesome. And then you're like, oh, was there more? That's okay. Ask us to repeat the question. Or if we read you a question and you're frozen, right? All of a sudden you're like, I forgot everything that I've ever done in my life. I don't know what to say. Take a second. That's okay. Say, can I take a minute? Could you repeat the question? Those are all some really practical skills in terms of interviewing. Again, recommending that you check out Career Services for a mock interview to kind of help you prepare that way as well. All right, so our next question. All right, next question from Emily is, can you have a part-time job and also be an RA? How many of you, just by raising hand real fast, have another job? Ethan. All right, Ethan, you want to answer that question then?
All right, so for like a while now, ever since I did become an RA, I have worked at the recreation wellness center on campus, the RWC, in other words, the gym, and from that part there, it really is important to communicate your circumstances to your supervisors and those above you. So your schedule and your other work schedule do not conflict with even your classes or like other extracurriculums that they may like also have. So several areas that I do know of work at fast food places or have like side gigs as well, and it definitely is manageable, but just be aware to not pile too much on yourself, especially starting off at UCF.
Yeah, so we would encourage you to limit your on-campus other job to 10 hours a week. That is something that is required in terms of kind of the back-end logistics of hiring students and the way that we hire people. You can work 10 hours at another job, but as Ethan mentioned, it's really important to communicate with your supervisor when you begin to get your second job approved, whether it's on campus or off campus. And the ultimate reason for that is, as I think Tommy mentioned earlier, you're a student first. We want you to do well in your classes. And becoming an RA is a new experience. It's a totally different job. You're living where you work. And you're going to have an adjustment period to figuring out how do you balance everything. Which duty night should you pick to make sure you don't have class the next morning at 8 a.m. Or if you do, how do you make sure to get a nap in afterwards? So it's really important that we're helping you, your supervisors are helping you balance being a student and a student leader before you're adding in that extra job. So that's why there's that time limit requirement. And as Ethan mentioned, it's really important to communicate with your supervisor because at the end of the day, we want you to be successful as a student. And so if we start to see, it's impacting your grades, you're not sleeping well, you're not taking care of yourself as a student or just as a human, Then we're going to start making sure that we talk to you about how do you balance your priorities. Yeah, great question. Anyone else want to add anything on? No? All right. So what are the benefits of being an RA? Oh, that's a great question. All right, Tommy.
I can start off with that one. So I think the benefits really is just connecting with people. You have your whole staff of RAs, and then you have your graduate coordinator, and then also the area coordinator. So just meeting those people, connecting with them. There's all kinds of conferences and other opportunities through the role that I've taken advantage of, and a lot of other RAs have taken advantage of. So you never know what opportunities will pop up. Of course, free housing is always the benefit that a lot of people will talk about. But really, I think the people as well is it's really nice to kind of make an impact in the community and get to know your residents and help them through their different times of need. And then, yeah, just working with everyone. We hire really incredible people, and I'm sure you're the next incredible person to join the team.
Just to like kind of go ahead and add on to that. I would say that one of the major benefits I found as being an RA is learning how to kind of problem solve, because you might be on duty and a certain situation might arise that you've never experienced before, and you're not sure how to go about it. And we have a chain of command, obviously, to guide you through that situation, but just kind of creative problem solving in some sorts. I think that it's really important to be able to have to make, I wouldn't say overly fast decisions, but make decisions kind of that may not have been planned out. And then, yeah, it's really good. It helps with my problem solving skills, which obviously correlates to like school and stuff like that too. So.
For me, as a business major, it's very much important to like build on your communication skills, interacting with other people around you. So being RA has definitely helped me to become more outgoing. In other words, because you probably can already tell I have a speech impediment, but nevertheless, that does not really stop me. Being an RA gives me the exposure that I need to express myself and help out other people, and not bring myself down in the moment, but bring myself on up to the occasions that like arise. So I can better handle a situation and answer any concerns that need to be addressed. So for me, being an RA has been a wonderful benefit of just being able to like become a more well-rounded student, and be able to appeal beyond my own insecurities.
Also, a big benefit is the networking kind of that you get to do, because you're going to be working with so many different people. Like none of my coworkers, I feel, have the same major. Like we're all very different. The grads that I work with, they're all different. And it's just so interesting to get to talk to people majoring in different things and getting to learn more about them. And then, of course, with the residents, you're going to be interacting with so many different people, and you get to kind of learn new things and just network kind of.
Awesome. Those are great answers. Thank you all. All right. How do duty shifts work? So I know you talked a little bit about them, but maybe talking about even how do you select duty, and then what do you actually do when you're on duty?
So I can go ahead and kind of take off on that one. So for duty shifts, we are given kind of an allotted amount of shifts per semester. So that number, it'll vary, but especially because of the situation and stuff, therefore it varies. But normal duty shifts is every week you have a designated day. So for me last semester, that was Monday. So every Monday at 4:45 p.m., I would make my way over to the community office, in which I would sit in the community office until midnight with my duty partners. So I wasn't alone. I always had a partner. And during those duty shifts, twice while we were in the office, we would go on rounds, which is basically just walking your community, going up and down each hall, each stairwell, and just kind of checking to make sure that everything's in sorts. There's no loud noises. Everybody's okay. Nothing out of the ordinary. And then in addition, if anybody ever gets locked out, we're always there to unlock the door for them, because that inevitably will happen kind of every single night. So we're there to kind of be a resource as well if we get any calls or anything like that. And then in terms of scheduling and stuff, we normally have a meeting in which we'll kind of go up the river, down the river. So it's a fair selection process.
That was great, Aiden. Anyone else want to comment? It's pretty thorough.
I can also add to that. So no duty shift is like the other. So, we do have all kinds of situations that pop up. So it's just like if we get any noise complaints, just dealing with that. Residents will come to know about the community living guide that we have for each community and the different rules and policies in place. So we really are that enforcer of those rules, just to make sure that we have a safe environment and that everyone is just abiding by them and not distracting others who may be studying or sleeping. So we definitely will deal with that for duty shifts. And yes, you do have duty partners whenever you're working, so you're never alone. You have those other RAs you're working with, and you'll always have a grad on call and also a coordinator on call to assist you through any situation. So there's a lot of support that goes behind the scenes. But yeah, it's always interesting and it's always different.
Thank you. All right, our next question. What is the residential curriculum and what do RAs do with it? All right, who wants to tackle this one first?
I guess I'll go
Awesome,
first. So the residential curriculum, in broad specs, is a way for RAs to in summary connect with their residents within their building or floor, and from there to not really just have like general talks of like how was your day and everything, but actually dive into like deeper conversations of like how is school going, how are they feeling emotionally, are they connected to the proper resources that's driving them down their desired career path, and in summary, opening out the students through those stages of providing them the resources that are needed, and connecting them to the proper channels that will support them through all of this.
Thank you. Anyone else want to add a little bit?
I could also add a little bit to this as well. So we have an educational priority for our organization, which is global citizenship, that we like to talk a lot with residents, because UCF has over 60,000 residents all over the world with different backgrounds and a lot of differences. So we, take pride in our diversity and our differences and use them as learning experiences and to grow our community together. But we also have 3 pillars that we like to talk about as well. Those range from the community engagement, which is, the kind of the core of our job with the events and the roommate agreements and just connecting with our residents, even now more than ever. And then we also have the self-awareness piece. So again, helping students find themselves, because college is a learning experience and finding yourself. So just being there as a support system for all of our residents, and helping them with that self-awareness piece. And then the most important would be the equity and inclusion piece. So that's a lot of what our curriculum revolves around. But we also talk a lot about goal setting and other important skills like time management.
Awesome. Thank you both. Yeah, the curriculum is a great way to kind of create a foundation to ensure that between 199 RAs and up to 12,000 residents, that there's some foundational similarities between what's happening with residents in Northview and residents in Ninth Circle or residents in Apollo. It kind of gives the RAs a chance to have a framework of how to start. And so some RAs will read the script that they're given and kind of go straight from there. And, if you have or have not yet watched the required informational video that is posted to the housing website, that's a required component of the RA application. When you watch that, you'll see a sample lesson plan. Some RAs will follow it verbatim. And other RAs may try to make it their own a little bit and, maybe add some jokes in here or some references or things that will make their students and their residents feel more comfortable. And so it's just a way to really support our RAs in creating some experiences that are somewhat similar across the board. Thank you so much for answering that. All right, so, this is a fun one. What is your career goal and how will being an RA help you achieve it? This might be a great one for everybody to answer if you're comfortable. All right.
Right now, I'm kind of striving towards a higher education administration career kind of pathway. It changes every day. But I think right now this job is really helping me with that, kind of getting myself familiarized with how to talk to different people, residents, students of all over. Kind of just getting to connect with them. It doesn't have to be about school. Just learning how to talk to people that are my age, or close in age with me. And even people above me, getting to know how to talk to, because I have many people that oversee me. I'm used to having just one boss, but now I have a lot of bosses. So, and in a higher education administration job, you're going to have a lot of people that kind of oversee you. So I think that this job kind of helps a lot with that.
Anyone else want to add on to that?
I'll say a little bit of my piece. So once again, I'm a dual major in finance and economics. So my end goal is to own my own firm and become a personal financial advisor. So in my desired career road, I'll be helping out other people, other actual clients. So being an RA has definitely taught me to be more connected to the people around me and center my mindset on helping out others instead of being I guess, what's the proper word for it, of putting myself first but putting others first, just as the turning into more of a servant leadership, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Anyone else want to add on?
Yeah. So for my specific career goal, just as Sonia had said, it kind of changes, but I love the ocean and I love traveling. And as a marketing major, I think one of the really cool things would be if I would be able to kind of travel the world and work for kind of outreach organizations and stuff and campaigns. So I feel as being an RA, it exposes you to so many different people. And for me specifically, if I want to go out and travel, no one person's going to be the same. No community is going to be the same. No country, of course. So I think as being an RA, whether it's your residents or it's the people that come into the office or it's your your fellow resident assistants, just being exposed and meeting people of different backgrounds and different cultures and stuff, I think is really, really cool because, we have over 60,000 people and we are so diverse, and being a student leader in a diverse organization like this is really, really special. And I think it'll help everybody in the long run.
Awesome. All right. So if hired, would you have to move from your current residence hall space? So one thing I do want to mention is that you do not have to have previous experience living on campus in order to apply to be an RA. So maybe you live off campus right now, maybe you live at home right now. You can definitely still apply to be an RA. But maybe do you all want to mention, if you're hired, would you have to move from your current residence hall space?
I'll go ahead and answer. The answer to that would be yes. I was actually hired as a freshman, so I was living in Neptune, and I had to move. Luckily, I just moved the community over to Nike, so it wasn't too far. But yeah, if you are hired as a resident assistant, if you do live off campus, depending on the community that you're going to be residing in, you'll be provided with a housing arrangement. So yeah, you would have to move at the start of the term in which you are going to be starting your job.
Awesome. I think this is our last question. Before I transition to the end, are there any last things that any of our RAs want to mention? Any final thoughts, advice, tips, well wishes? Would you recommend people apply?
More than anything, just be yourself in the interview, be yourself filling out the application. Don't feel like you have to fluff anything. They're looking for all types of people to do this job. It's not about how much experience you have. It's not about like what you know, because most of what you learn in this job is like doing it. So just be yourself. You don't have to feel like you need to know everything about housing. I sure didn't. I knew a lot, but I didn't know everything. So it's just kind of like being yourself. And yeah, I definitely recommend this job. Yeah.
And I also think I saw you unmute yourself. Oh, there you go, Tommy.
I was just going to stress the fact that you don't have to have a lot of experience, and you definitely don't even have to have experience living on campus or being at UCF. I never lived on campus before being an RA, and I almost did not apply because I was like, I never lived on campus. I don't know if I could do this. 3 years in, I definitely could do it, so do not let that rule yourself out. And if this is something you're excited about and you see yourself doing, absolutely pursue it. I definitely don't regret it. I loved the past 3 years. So, yeah.
I'll go next. Keep mine short. So, in summary, be you, be safe, please, during this time especially, and take this opportunity as a learning opportunity, and reflect on it, experience it, and enjoy UCF to the fullest.
I think I'll just go ahead and close on kind of this topic. As like I think everybody else said, like you don't have to have all the experience that you would think you have to have. Really, the interview I think is more so to determine kind of who you are as an individual, and are you obviously going to be able to complete the roles as an RA and the requirements and stuff. But UCF has so many resources in housing, and we all went through training, and we'll go through training many more times. So staying up to date, and you're given enough resources to step out on the first day of the job and feel ready and adequate. So yeah, I would definitely encourage you all to apply if you're thinking about it. It's a wonderful job, and I love it.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. So we're going to drop the link down here again, ucf.ereslife.com. That is where the application is housed. On there, you'll find more information about the job. And then also the main housing website, you'll find some information as well as a sample position description. And so ucf.ereslife.com. And I think our last question is, if I have more questions after this live Q&A, where can I ask them? So we do have a few more live Q&As coming up. This is our very first one with our RAs, and I can't thank these RAs enough. Thank you so much for giving some time to give back to people who may be your future coworkers down the line. And so for moving on, I'm going to show you a flyer. And so you see at the top, it mentions that the candidates are required to watch an informational video, and you can see the link. But then you can also see the rest of our live Q&As. So we have 3 live Q&As to the selection committee. So part of my role is overseeing the selection committee. So I'll be on all 3 of these live Q&As. We've got 2 more, one on September 10th at 6 p.m., one on September 23rd at 5 p.m. And then we'll be back with some other RAs to do 2 more live Q&As with current RAs. The next one is September 16th at 7 p.m. And the last one is October 22nd at 7 p.m., which is after applications close, but prior to interviews. So that way, if you have some questions about interviews or how to prep, you can definitely come check out that one. So keep an eye on these. And again, we thank you so much for your interest in the resident assistant application. Some last things, just reminders. The application is open right now on eResLife, so ucf.ereslife.com, ucf.ereslife.com. I need it at the banner at the bottom so I don't say it wrong. And it's open now through October 1st of 2020. So today, September 1st, 2020, it's got one more month and it will close. And this application is for limited vacancies we might have in spring 2021, but it's primarily for our full year, which is May to May, May 2021 to May 2022, which I know seems really far away, right? Look at all of our faces thinking about 2022, but we're ready to be done with 2020 and we are ready to get into 2021. And so make sure that you check out the application prior to October 1st, so you've got time to use all the great tips that the RAs told you about your application. And other than that, we thank you so much and hope you have a great rest of your night and good luck on your application. Bye.